welcome to The Melancholy Guy Talks Ethical Non-Monogamy. This is a companion podcast to my Tumblr blog, The Melancholy Guy, daring to be black, open, and free. The adventures of a divorced, open, polyamorous African-American male. I am The Melancholy Guy, Calvin, or CPJR if you know me. And today, I definitely believe that change I must or die I will. My blog can be found at melancholyguy.tumblr.com. So, this show is basically broken up into three parts. Past, the Polycule Speaks. Present, what's up with the Polycule. Future, accepting the change. And if you've been listening to the podcast for any amount of time, you know that this is now a new format that I'm trying out, basically getting away from just reading my blog and talking about my life. I'm opening the podcast up to bring in guests where we'll be talking about just basically practical polyamory or practical non-monogamy, giving the people a chance to just share their stories of how they got from monogamy to ethical non-monogamy or whatever they call it at this point. So today I decided that I think it'll be a good idea if I go ahead and be the first guest. So I'm going to be the first guest on my own podcast. So I had to bring someone else in to be me. So with that, I'm going to introduce actually my real first guest, Kimberly. You heard me talk about Kimberly. We've been hanging out for a bit, still working out labels and all that shit. You know how that goes with me. And so I'm gonna let her introduce herself. So the next voice you hear will be Kimberly. Just say hello.
Hey, this is Kimberly. I'm glad to be here. The first pseudo guest. Thanks for having me.
Pseudo guest. Why you say pseudo?
I mean, I'm not really a guest yet. I'm a worker.
Okay, worker B.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the Melancholy Guy, and thanks for helping out. I wanted to, you know what? This is a good example of polyamory is, man. You know what I'm saying? I said I got into polyamory for what? Emotional intimacy and community. So it's like I needed some help. I was able to ask someone, and they're gonna come in, and you're gonna see that a lot because basically, for me to get guests, I'm gonna have to ask people I know in the community, because I don't got a bunch of friends. You know what I mean? Like I got people I know, but hopefully through the years of building relationship, they'll actually come onto the podcast and share their story if I ask them to. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. So I think I'm going to do a blog reading because I think I was talking about before I got to this idea about doing the podcast this way. I was talking about how I came out of swinging. You know, I've been talking about swinging many episodes. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because that was basically, for me, it was just our entrance or my interest into non-monogamy. Swinging for me was about, I don't know, I was trying to build community in sex. There was almost no intimacy. There was basically just a lot of sex and a lot of like weird situations. So for me, it wasn't going to fulfill my goals. And it wasn't actually, in the end, wasn't really bringing my wife and I back together. So I'm going to read this last entry. I'm going to read an entry from my blog. It's entitled 2013, Bring Us to the Next Chapter. 2013, Bring Us to the Next Chapter. That probably should be Brings Us to the Next Chapter. Anyway, I'm going to read it. It's still kind of a long, but I'm just going to try to go through as fast as possible so we can get to the show. I thought I should recap 2012 and all of our adventures in non-monogamy and where we are now in our journey. We started out this year in full swinger mode. Parties, clubbing, and meeting new people was our thing. We had some fun, but we attracted some drama too. Really too much drama for our comfort level. Seems like most of the people that we were meeting in the swinger world were just not real, or at least not real in our eyes, or maybe we were not real in their eyes. Most of the swingers were only interested in no strings attached sex and nothing else. even if these, even if there was some sort of chemistry and connection, yeah, even if there was some, sorry about that, that got old quick, and it was time to move on. Now, I won't say that we'll never hang out with real swingers or go attend clubs and parties. The one sure thing we have learned about ourselves this year is that we like group sex. I should be speaking for me, but I said we. And we know that, actually, no, thinking about it, yeah, we did like group sex. And we know that we will like it even more with people that we have some sort of a connection or bond. We decided that we were looking for real relationships now. We decided that we are looking for relationships now, something that involves polyamory. I'm talking in the weeds, so that's weird. It wasn't, that definitely wasn't us. That was me. We are not looking to have meet and greets. No, we are not looking to have meet and greets. Yeah, I said that right. We are not looking to have meet and greets to see if there's chemistry for sex. We are looking to ultimately form a triad, quad, or maybe eventually a tribe. Okay, that's weird. Because I'm so anti-configuration now. This is a newbie. You could tell I was new. Something that has some. I think everybody should write down stuff they're talking about now, and then go back and look at it 5 years later. We are looking to ultimately. Okay, I'm sorry. Something that has very long-term relationships, polyfidelities, but always flexible and open for growth. I wrote this. We, we are doing that by dating couples. Okay, I know where it's coming from. We are doing that by dating couples and open singles that we mostly meet online via social media and some swinger websites where we have ads. I also have an ad on OkCupid that features us as a couple. Oh, I did. So now, whenever we meet or date someone, they automatically know we are, and what we are, and what we aren't about. And they are given the option on whether they want to continue and see the possibilities or pass. So we broke ties with most of our contacts from last year. They weren't going anywhere. We still have our favorite couple. They are real swingers. Interesting. But we have spent some special time together, and we'll be hanging out again soon. Oh, D&D. We also recently met a single lady out in California. Oh, she's new to non-monogamy. Wow. But our conversations have so far been great. And even though we haven't met in person, it looks good. She's flying out to spend some time with us next month. That's Chanel. I never talked about her. Okay, but I probably never will. So we're keeping our fingers crossed until then. What's your plan to live your non-monogamy vision? And it's interesting that I wrote that entry on 1/15/2013 because that was after 2012. That was basically after the year of swinging, and I think that came after like us deciding that. I think my ex-wife definitely decided that she wasn't going to swing anymore, and it was basically on me. And I think at that point I also had gotten involved with some different groups because I think I was spiritually empty, and I think I was looking for some new things. And I got involved with a organization that some may know as Juju Mama, and that's where I met a lot of other people. I've actually formed a lot of Facebook groups. I was administrator on a lot of Facebook groups. I was in a lot of Facebook groups, and this is where I met most of the people that are now in the so-called Black and Poly community. This was how it began. Basically, most came from Juju Mama out into the world and then split up into other little groups. And so basically, that's how I got to this point today. So right now, we're gonna go into the new portion of the show called Polycule Speaks. And the way I set this portion up or part of the show is that it's basically going to be like a question and answer part. It's going to be like 3 questions that I think will best give the person a chance to talk about their polyamory, how or their ethical non-monogamy. Just basically talk about. I'm sorry. Basically, just give their story, right? Just basically give the person a chance to tell their story of how they came from monogamy to ethical non-monogamy, and then what does that look like today? So with that, I'm going to turn over the Polycule Speaks to myself, Kimberly.
Excellent. All right, Calvin, let's get right into the first episode of the Polycule Speaks. So let's start with question 1. How or what do you call your ethical non-monogamy?
Okay, great question. Okay, so basically, what I do right now is I'm polyamorous. Basically, I'm saying that my relationship orientation is polyamory, and I am polyamorous. So I think I've always been that way. I don't think I'm really built for monogamy. I think it just doesn't work for me. I think I can be monogamous at times, but I don't think that I can be fully monogamous. I don't think that I have the ability or desire to ever say, I'm only going to be with you. You know what I'm saying? I need you to be. I think we went to Black and Poly today, the meetup, and I think with how Algebra, he stated like, I don't have that position. I don't have that position for you to be everything to me. It doesn't exist in my life. So for me to tell someone that will be a lie, because I would basically get bored with you.
Okay, so let's back up just a second. So ethical non-monogamy is the overarching umbrella, and so you're identifying as polyamorous. For the audience, can you give us maybe 3 or 4 other examples of ethical non-monogamies to try to tie it in for folks?
Okay, so 3 other different types. Okay, ethical non-monogamy. I'm sorry, the swinging.
Okay.
There's the open relationship. That's basically how a couple would just have their monogamous relationship open to different type of things, like it's sex only, no intimacy, those type of things. They don't want. It could be a don't ask, don't tell. Just I think like Dan Savage says, monogamish is sort of open to outside play, but not open to outside love.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then there's polyamory, of course. And then there's like relationship anarchy, which is what I practice. I am polyamorous, but I practice relationship anarchy.
That's helpful.
Huh?
So tell us where polyandry and polygamy fit into that.
Those are marriages. Those don't have anything to do with ethical non-monogamy. To me, it don't. To me, it's like that's a form of marriage. I don't really know, and it's illegal.
Well, plenty polyamorous people are married. So can you be more specific?
Well, marriage doesn't have anything to do with love. For me, I think people can get. To me, marriage is a legal contract, so it doesn't have anything to do with love. Even if I do love you and decide I want to be with you for the rest of my life, based on it could be spiritual bond that we have or some decision that we have. When we decide to go in front of a judge to do that, that's a legal contract. Right.
So for you, polyandry and polygamy are not ethical non-monogamy.
No,
Okay.
I don't. Not for me, they aren't. I don't, because that's Polyfi. Interesting. Okay. I take that back. You know, I'm an open book. I like discussion. I'm sorry. It fits to me under polyfidelity, which I don't consider part of polyamory. I consider it to be a separate branch of ethical non-monogamy, and polygamy, polygyny, polyandry would fit underneath that.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Okay, thanks. Question 2. So how did you come to identify as polyamorous as opposed to the other options under the ethical non-monogamy umbrella?
Oh, that's actually a good addendum to my question. Thank you. You're a really good me. Okay, I picked the right one for this job. Okay, so basically, I want to say that for me, the way I got into ethical non-monogamy, or the way that I worked my way into ethical non-monogamy, was I had to figure it out. Like, I had to go back into my life and look at how I related, or how I handle relationships. Okay, just from the very beginning. I remember as when I was in like high school, before high school, just the whole boyfriend girlfriend thing. I never had that thing about. I never felt that jealousy thing. You know what I'm saying? I was never upset if my girlfriend was with someone else or decided to be with someone else. I wasn't really. I got sad. I got sad after breakups because I was a big romantic, but I was never really a jealous type. It never just bothered me at all, and I didn't understand jealousy from other people when girlfriends got jealous or upset. I just didn't understand it. To me, I think what was significant to me, I remember, is when people used to talk about, what happens if you catch your girl cheating on you. I'm like, this is me young. I remember thinking this. Oh, I think we should have a conversation. Like, what happened? Like, what made you need to do that? I think we need to work. You know what I'm saying? You need to work through that and figure out what was going on. This is me in high school as a kid.
I hear you.
Like we don't need to. There's no need to fight and all this. Let's figure out what happened. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, if you weren't happy or you wanted something else. You know what I mean? So that's how I was growing up. So in high school, I even got to the point in high school that I didn't have girlfriends. I just had friends. I don't even know what to call it. I was just floating around. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. And here's the bad part about that. They may have thought I was their boyfriend. Like when I was like, by the time I got to 12th grade and it was time for prom, I had more than one date and I didn't even go. Wasn't even go, like, this is terrible, right?
Oh my God.
One young lady even bought a dress. Like I didn't, because I couldn't tell her no, because she felt at the time she was my girlfriend, so she was see, this thing about monogamy, right? Just because I'm in 12th grade, I'm graduating, there's prom, because you're my girlfriend, you automatically my date. That's how it works.
I don't know if that's considered monogamy, but
So I was probably a little a punk then. I should have corrected that, but definitely I just had each person or each woman I think that I had in my life back then filled a certain role, right? And it's like I didn't have that that I love that I learned that today. Like I didn't have that position to be everything to me. I didn't get to that position until because I wasn't raised in the church. I didn't start going back to church till I was 18. Until after I got, had my first job. I was going to church. I figured that I feel it was better married than to burn, all this kind of stuff. So then, sin and sex and all this kind of stuff. So then all of a sudden, it felt like I felt like marriage was the thing to do. And I felt like I'll be more accepted because I was in IT. So I was young in IT, and I was having these meetings with these vendors, and we're talking business, lunches, stuff like that. So I figured you're supposed to have, I grew a beard, you're supposed to have a wife. So you could be a settled young man. Mm-hmm. So that was my interest into marriage. It was like, first of all, you're in church, you're a Christian, having sex, you should be married. And then it's like, I want to be seen as an upstanding citizen. You know what I'm saying? A guy who's stable, then I should get married. Now, go back to that thing I said about the contract thing. What's love got to do with it, right? It wasn't, I can say I love my wife. I hate saying some of this stuff because I think it could be taken the wrong way if certain people hear it. My daughters, stuff like that. No, there was love in my marriage. But I didn't have that desire to ever be like tied down. Like even when I was married, it just felt like, because it was definitely like she wanted me to fill that role and I couldn't be in that role. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't be that husband that she wanted me to be, that upstanding provider, protector, priest of the home. And I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't think that's me. And it was just like, I just really felt like, I think that for me, it's like, you should never really like, I'm excited to come home at night because I have projects and stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm excited at home because I'm gonna see you. But I'm really excited at home, excited to come home if I got all that.
Mm-hmm.
You dig what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be coming home to see you every night. You know what I'm saying? But I like to come home to my life. You see what I mean? So for to me to be in that marriage, it was me coming home to that role
Mm-hmm.
because I had look at the commitment. I had to come home. It was what I was supposed to do. So it was like when I come home, he's supposed to talk to me. La, 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 la. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't me. And and I didn't understand it. And the whole jealousy thing, I didn't understand that. Like I couldn't have women friends. Like I always used to joke about if I mention a woman's name in casual conversation more than 3 times, she would stop and say, "Why do you keep mentioning her name?"
Now, you know the 3-time rule. Come on now.
I had to explain that. I had to explain like, oh well, you know, we work together a lot, all this kind of stuff. I mean, that was just like life. So that was like part of my story. Like I lived a life that was sort of different in high school. Not really doing the whole real girlfriend boyfriend thing,
Mm-hmm.
being pretty like much of a free agent and understanding that. And like I said, some women didn't know that I was like that free, but most did. And I never really said that I'm your boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like I had the freedom because I had a car back then and stuff like that. I could move. I was working. I was out of high school, so I was like just free. And that's how I always felt. I didn't decide to get married until and that was probably it's interesting. Like I just said, I didn't start going back to church till I was 18, and then that's when I got married
Mm-hmm.
because I was in the church. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, go through my first marriage. I'm in church. Divorce. I'm sort of like not really in church, out of church. Then I go through this whole thing again, mixing active addiction. So I go through this whole thing where I end up in rehab, come out of rehab. I come out of church.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this was it. Not only was I out of church at this point, I'm no longer a Christian. Guess what comes into question? Monogamy. So it's like I no longer felt the need. No. I felt the need to be who I am because I think even with my second wife, when I decided to get married again because we were in love, I had already told her that I was no longer a Christian, and I was coming out of the church. And then I think what I was doing is I was also told her that I didn't want to give it to my friends. You know what I'm saying? Because she lived in New York. So I said, well, I have these friends that are women down here that we hang out, go out. I mean, I said, some are sexual, some not. And she said, that's fine. That's cool. And I think that was interesting, but I still, as we got closer, I still dropped them. You know what I'm
And
saying?
was that
Oh, I'll talk about this. Go ahead. What?
was that because of you felt like a subliminal request from her, or for you just your own decision?
I felt it was the right thing to do. That was monogamy. That was you. You know what I mean? Like as you built, and I think that's what I'm going through now. Like having an issue with labels, I'm still going through that. Like I'm still unlearning. I said like even he said like washing off the scars. I'm still going through. Like if I give a relationship a label, then that label means a certain trajectory or a certain path, or it means like there's certain behaviors that go along with that label
Mm-hmm.
that frankly I don't particularly know if I want to do. You know what I mean? Even though it's not being asked of me, like I should be that person. And it was interesting at this thing. Like I was talking about, I'm gonna talk about because we went to the Black and Poly thing today. I was sitting there with you, right? And you said your first. I think you asked a question first, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think when Nick was talking. No, this was actually during the meeting, and you asked a question, right?
Okay.
And me in my head, I'm like, she asking a question, right? Now, why she asking them the question? Don't they? I'm supposed to be answering the questions because I'm the dude, right? And I'm like, oh shit, I'm going through this whole bullshit again about,
Yeah.
you know what I
Well,
mean? Like it's like it's really like ingrained, and I'm still even me
of
at this
course.
point,
Of course.
still working all that shit out, and that's why I'm like, I don't want to label nothing. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what that means. A lot of times when I label something and it's mislabeled, shit gets weird. You know what I mean? Like I want to make sure it's the right label.
But you have to also take into consideration that mislabeling occurs on an individual basis. So we could both say it's red and see something completely different.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I'm just,
We need to come to the definition of what these labels are
that's
before we
right.
start putting
So it's
labels
really
on.
about communication and covenant more so than mislabeling because and even when you have communication and covenant we evolve and so that it changes. So okay, great, thanks. So my final question for you, and you've talked a little bit about it, is what does your polyamory look like today?
I didn't know I finished my. How did I come to that name?
Oh,
But
I'm
okay.
sorry, I didn't mean to
But
cut you off.
I'll go ahead and add on to that. Damn, I'm rude. I didn't know I was that rude. I'm very rude. How dare I? So how did what was the question? What does that look like today? Okay, so today for me it looks like
No labels.
no, it looks like a relationship anarchy, right? You know
And
the
can you
definition?
explain for us what that means?
Relationship anarchy is the approach to relationships as non-egalitarian.
Non-egalitarian.
Yeah, non-egalitarian.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Wow.
no,
Non-hierarchical.
non-hierarchical. Yeah, what's oh, I'm sorry. They are egalitarian, non-hierarchical. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Relationships are egalitarian, meaning that they're all equal and there's no hierarchy, right? So basically, it's the concept of allowing relationships to develop as they develop. It's sort of like, and also, if I say that I'm in love with you, with this person, I love you, it's this doesn't I love you and we're having sex and we're moving together and all this kind of stuff and I spend most of my time with you. That don't mean you no more important than this guy I see like or this girl I see every 2 weeks. Does that make any sense?
It makes sense.
And also, it doesn't. It's also the thing about the labels. Like I don't like. Okay, so here's the thing. Like I've been since I've been in polyamory. I've been quick to do labels a lot, and it's driving me crazy because a lot of people, especially like new people, once they get that label, they want to run with it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay, so what we gonna do? When we gonna move together? When we gonna buy this? When we gonna buy this house? When we go to this apartment? Are you moving here or I'm moving there? Especially if it's long distance. Like, what's gonna happen after that label is made? Like, what's the plan? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I mean, but I will say that there are some people who find comfort in labels without a lot of baggage attached to them.
yeah, show me those people.
You have one here. But in any event. Okay, so I wanted to
That's what
clarify
you say
real
today.
quickly.
Right?
Right.
You
I
can
mean,
say that today.
That's all
That's the
any of us
thing.
can say today because we
Right.
don't know what tomorrow holds.
Right.
Right.
So that's what that's how what polyamory looks like today. Patience, just a lot of like putting the brakes on and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and I got to deal with my whole, you know, I guess I was just talking to you today. I got to deal with like trauma from the past, like being very, very open in the polyamorous community, not really sharing my truth of my active addiction. And I was thinking that I can't really say that I was being taken advantage of in some places, but I was just very generous about allowing people in and them just taking a residence and didn't understand how fast they would dig up and move out. You know what I mean? If shit hit the fan and what their triggers were and all this kind of shit. So it's like I have, I don't know, trauma from some of that stuff that I have to deal with and still work through. So I have to be very, very careful. And it's like I understand that. So that's why I think when I say I am polyamorous, meaning that for me, polyamory is about intimate relationships, something that I definitely crave, and then it's about building community, right? And then that I like to view my relationships as all being equal and being the same, and trying to be in the moment with each person and allowing them to occupy the space that they are occupying in my life. You know what I'm saying? And then allow them the freedom to move in and out and through that space as needed.
That's great. That's actually quite beautiful. I need a clarifier.
Okay.
2 questions.
Mhm.
So you said that your non-hierarchical polyamory you refer to as relationship anarchy. Now, anarchy, that word generally signifies chaos due to a lack of authority.
I think
So, are you saying that it's chaotic, or are you using it merely in the sense of there is no ultimate authority and no ultimate authority relationship?
See, I think that's the thing, right? I think what we think of as anarchy and chaos is not the same. I think I heard when people were saying like the anarchists now, they aren't saying that they don't want authority or they don't want chaos. What they're saying is they don't want authority. We each are able to govern ourselves. You know what I'm
Right. So
saying?
that's what I want
So
to
if we each are
clarify.
able to govern ourselves, that doesn't necessarily mean chaos.
And that's why I wanted to bring
Right.
that point out, because the traditional usage of that word anarchy in implies chaos without because of a lack of authority. But you're saying it's not chaos; it's just you being your own self authority.
Yeah, like I want grown folks poly. I want to be with people that can govern themselves. You know what I mean? I don't have to apply authority to my relationships. You know what I mean? I like to be like, and I use that term grown folks poly because, right, because anarchy, I don't think necessarily means chaos.
And so let me ask you, and this is, I forgot the other question I was going to ask, and this will be my last question. So you are very comfortable and seem to readily identify as a relationship anarchist.
I know I don't identify as relationship anarchy. I say I practice relationship anarchy.
I see. Thank you for that clarification.
The difference, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, like I believe I am polyamory. I am polyamorous, but I practice relationship anarchy.
I get you.
Relationships. I think that was something new. I just came up with that. So I should say I'm polyamory, poly/RA, because I like because me myself in relationships, I like to be like polyamorous people. I think like love. You know what I mean? Like they want to hurry up and get to love.
I don't agree with that, but I hear you.
I know you don't. So, but they want to rush to get to love because they are about love. Actually, they want to rush to get NRE, which is they think is love. That's what they like, right? So I kind of like to. I'm taking a step away from NRE, right? I want to step away from NRE, and then I want to come. I want to take a slow approach through friendship to love, or whatever it is. I don't know, but I want to stop all this NRE shit. You know what I mean? That's basically. I don't know. I told you I have trauma.
I hear you.
I have trauma, but I also need to be able to regulate the highs and lows in my life because of who I am.
Definitely.
Right. So.
Definitely. And I think that's an important
Right.
part.
For us, that's that. I think there's some intersectionality
Definitely.
in my story
Definitely.
with the active addiction and recovery, and then my non-monogamy. Like I have to regulate my emotions in a way because I can't let them run. I can't let them get away
Of course.
because I have addictive
Which I
personality.
think is an important part for your audience to hear, that
Right.
as with everything in life, it's about our personal journey.
That's the
And so for some people, NRE could be wonderful. It could be the jolt they need to, do something or get out of it. But for other people, it could be, the poison. So that folks understand that it's not that NRE sucks or label sucks or any of these things suck. It's about finding what works for your particular journey and running with that.
bingo. I think you just actually nailed the reason for the show, right? Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey is not going to be the same, and don't look at somebody else's journey and say I'm fucking up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My journey sucks. Why their journey look so good from the outside on Facebook?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I don't really know what they went through to get there. Everybody's journey is going to be different. You know what I mean? Like if you see a dude who has a wife and a beautiful girlfriend and then some other stuff going on and flying. Don't look at that and be like, oh man, that's what I want. You don't know what he go through at night on the phone. You don't know the drama, and you don't know what he had to do to get there. So I think just putting these stories out there is a good thing, especially in our community, the Black and Poly community, because you don't really get to hear the stories. You get to see the drama, but you don't really get to hear the stories. But you can get books I love, stories from the Polycule on Amazon. You can read about their stories, but you won't read about our stories. When I say our stories, people of color. Nothing, I'm not saying anything's wrong with not hearing all stories. I think we should hear all stories. So anybody want to write that book, I'll put you in touch with Elizabeth Schiff, and she can tell you how she did it, or maybe she could do it. Right. So anyway, I think we're going to close out that part. That was the first, the Polycule Speaks. So I don't know. I think I like that. So basically, next week is going to be my first guest, and I'm going to be me, and Kim's going to be her.
Yay!
So we're going to flip it. We're going to hear her story. We're going to hear the Polycule Speaks from her. Okay, so we're going to roll on to the... oh, thank you, Kim.
My pleasure.
I appreciate you. Drinks on you. So after we're going to go into the present, what's up with the Polycule? That's basically me talking about... or the person, or whoever wants to talk about, but basically it's present. What's going on with the Polycule, my Polycule. I'm still doing my thing. You heard about most of it. I'm not going to take too long to talk about it tonight. I think it's going to be a short show. But just basically still hunting for a job, doing that thing. Still working on my recovery, of course. I think 76 days. And I'm still, here in the fight, doing my thing. And I'm still, as you can hear, like I'm still working shit out. Like I've been in this whole ethical non-monogamy thing since I would say like 2007, and I'm still working it out. And do I consider myself to be a vet? Only in the fact that I've been in the community, right, for so long, and I've read some books and had some relationships, but I still am working through like issues and still trying to figure out. What's going to work best for me and how it's going to look, what's going to work, how it's going to look in my life going forward. And then I'm still working out in the intersectional issues of recovery and all those kind of things. But I'm grateful to have this platform to work it out on, because it causes me to examine and look at what's working, what's not working in my life, and me having to, bring it to this microphone, to this podcast every week is me just examining it. And we went to a Black and Poly meeting today, and it was great just to sit down with other poly folks, not trying to find a date, not trying to find a hookup, but just talking about, real life, practical polyamory. I think I'm gonna be stressing that for a minute. Practical polyamory. I have a Facebook group now. I had one, been trying to pump it up. We actually just changed the name to Practical Polyamory for People of Color. If you're looking for more support for some grown folks poly, look for that. So that's basically what's going on now. Kimberly is going to be doing a podcast soon. So it's called, what's it called?
Enlightened Emergence.
So look out for that. More information coming about that. This person is interesting. Wow. I learn from her daily. I think you're like what? Ordained?
I am an ordained clergy.
United
Church of Christ.
The United Church of Christ ordained clergy. But you're also a what? A non-theist. Wow. It's deep. It's deep. All right. So that's basically what's going on with the Polycule podcasting, basically. Poly and podcasting. That's what's going on. And hunting for a job. So help a nigga out. So let's go on to the next part, future, accepting the change. I don't know. I don't have nothing for that section right now. But basically embrace the change, man. I think for me, I need to learn how to just, I found out today I got to work through some trauma. Dude, I found that out today. That's basically it. I need some counseling. So that's gonna be the future. Me get my ass in some therapy and work through some shit. Cause I think it's holding me back. I didn't really realize how much. But there's some shit in me that we're gonna work out. With that, I think that was great. Like I said, next week, that was actually pretty good. I think it was a good story. I think I'll have some more, but Kim, she cut me off, and but we do that to each other all the time. And because I was gonna go into it, but I think I laid the story out enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. So with that, Kim, do you have anything you want to plug? Social media? Where you at?
Yes, please, if you are interested in a factual faith and a community where you can receive spiritual nurture free of doctrine and dogma, please do check out the Facebook group Enlightened Emergence.
That's on Facebook.
Yes.
Enlightened Emergence. All right, I pumped that up. So for me, the melancholy guy on Tumblr. I'm the melancholy guy just put melancholy guy. I think it's melancholy guy _pod on Instagram. That's where I am at. Also, the Melancholy Guy podcast or the Melancholy Guy on Facebook. That's the Facebook page. I'm pumping up the group practical polyamory for people of color. We need 2 more admins. So preferably, I would like 2 more. We have me, myself, and we have 2 cisgender women. If I could get 2 more men, but they don't necessarily have to be cisgender, just masculine, I guess. But they don't have to be cisgender. It could be trans, but just I want to try to balance it out. You know what I'm saying? Like all the energies, but I don't really care about the genitalia. Okay, got it.
We got it.
All right. So that's it. Peace, and I'll see you next week. Always remember to love and respect yourself first, and everything else will take care of itself. Peace. And namaste.